Okay, it's Tuesday in the Euros. Let's talk football betting, what I'm betting on today. It is 2:45 p.m. I wouldn't usually do my football bets at 2:45 p.m. There are 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. kickoffs. I'd usually be doing them about 4:15, 7:15, because I happen to think that a lot of edge comes after team news. And also a lot of liquidity comes after team news, because I'm doing betting on the exchanges just now. I haven't got any soft online books, albeit there is plenty of value out there at soft online books. And I'm not betting in shops. I haven't really found anything, although Kane doubled the light hat-trick heaven for England against Slovenia at 5-2. If you believe the exchange first goal scorer price, that's 100.2% EV. I don't, and so I think the bet's negative EV. I think the exchange price is too low. But also you've got this thing betting before team news where you have to factor in some sort of risk that the player isn't starting. And if Kane comes on at 0-0 at 80 minutes, that double delight hat-trick heaven bet is decimated. Now, you can mitigate that by not worrying about it and betting at EV that is higher enough to carry that risk over long term. I'll tell you this, 100.2% isn't enough to mitigate that risk, so I'm not betting on it. You can if you want, if you're super confident that Harry is starting and you like the idea of 100.2%. Has anyone got 2 goals in a game so far this tournament? Don't think so. Don't quote me either. That's the first thing. And the second thing, let's talk staking. I am going to employ a unit win stake methodology where every bet, regardless of EV, will be to win 10 whole pounds. That's right. I'm the high roller that we've all been waiting for. Look, obviously I'm betting to win more than £10. This is actually for logistical reasons of profit loss recording. Some bets, for example, England to have 1 or more shots in the first 10 minutes, which we'll come to, I have traded an amount of liquidity that I would like to. Other bets, for example, 11 or more goals in tonight's fixtures, I haven't. And it may or may not go. But what I can't have is record this video, and then by the time I put the spreadsheet up, I've got a load of different stakes with seemingly random unit win amounts, because it depends on how much went or not. Look, I think all of these bets could have gone for a tenner. So let's just use a tenner, because what we care about is return on investment, not overall profit loss. And incidentally, I'm betting on 2 games today. So ROI is almost pointless at that sample size. Like the Royal Ascot videos, I hope it gives you an idea of where I'm looking, how I'm looking, and stuff like that. So these are all exchange bets, all to win a massive amount of a tenner. I'm going to start off looking at the enhanced specials that are out there today. Didn't see a lot in these, to tell you the truth, in that I thought that they were very efficient already. It's kind of annoying. But, so you've got, any score of 1-0 and 2-0 in Holland, Austria, which is never going to be massive, because it's just, people can work out the liquid Dutch ore, and that's not hard. Something that's amazingly close is Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham to have 1 shot on target each, make the fair odds 3.03. The back odds currently are 3, so there's just nothing in that. There's just nothing in that, right? But 11 or more goals in tonight's fixtures. That's the first bet I am on. I make the fair odds of that 1.81. It's been cagey recently. And I make the fair odds 1.92. 1.81 was being backed on the exchange. So I'm laying that 1.81, right? I would like 10 or fewer goals. And that's bet number 1. 11 or more goals in tonight's fixtures. Lay, I'm on at 1.81 at the exchange. The next bet, England to get over 0.5 goals in the first half. So England to score in the first half. That is up over at BetDAC. 1.68 back, 1.7 fair, 1.68 back, 1.7 lay, 1.64 fair. So I am on there at 1.7, traded the higher price. England to have 1 or more shots in the first 10 minutes. Worked this out by taking England's overall shots in the game. So we have a tool, the player stats tool. And within the player stats tool, we have a shots tab. And within the shots tab, you can get the shots, expected shots for all of the players. And both the home and the away and the match. So I have England up at 13.97. And then from that 13.97, I took a goal distribution of about 8%. It wasn't exactly 8%. But the goal distribution, I don't have a shots distribution, but goal distribution should be just as good. So we have 8% of goals in the first 10 minutes of using that. And that was my mean. And then I just put that into a Poisson distribution calculator, and I got my fair odds. And my fair odds on that were 1.64. They weren't 1.47 with 1.59 available to back on the exchange. I'm on that, and that's to win a whole tenner. So there we go. Then we have both goalkeepers in Netherlands, Austria to make 3 or more saves. Now this was very big yesterday. I can actually see something there that I've just got to recalculate. Let's have a look at that. So, saves. We have a data source for saves. Let's just pull up Netherlands versus Austria. We're going to have Austria over 2 saves in the match, and we have for them 1.54, and for the Netherlands 1.75. So 1.75, multiplying those two together will get you 2.695. Now, can you just multiply them together? Who knows? This is all about the correlation of bets. This is all about if one team gets saves, is the other team more likely to have saves, less likely to have saves? Is there a positive correlation? Is there a negative correlation? Does it depend on the makeup of the match? One way of working this out is just to go to a bookmaker's bet builders and ask them. The thing is, if you do that with various different bookmakers, some will say there's positive correlation, some will say there's negative correlation, some will say there's no correlation. That's why there's an edge in these markets, because nobody seems to know. Nobody seems to have a good model. So if you want to play it super safe, and I did play it super safe, you can take that 2.695 and multiply it by the highest correlation that you saw, which I think is about 8%. And 2.91 would be the fair odds. 3.5 is available on the exchange. I think it's a big bet. I'm betting on it. Perhaps the correlation is so much bigger that it's actually a negative EV bet. This is what it comes down to. But in terms of 3+ saves, I mean, how much is it affected if one team gets saves? Well, I was watching actually Italy versus... who were Italy playing last night? That's how much I was watching the game. I was watching Croatia versus Italy last night. And Italy barely had any possession in the first half. And we wanted each goalkeeper to have 3+ saves in this. And it was a big bet as well. But then, so obviously when Croatia have got possession and they're peppering the Italian goal, it's very difficult for Italy to get the saves from the Croatian keeper because they don't have the ball. So there is that thing where the other team's got so much possession. It's less likely to happen. And all of these caveats of correlation do need to be taken into and working out these enhanced special bets. But regardless, Italy did get the ball. They didn't get the save in the end. I was kind of hoping that was going to come in. But those are the enhanced specials that I'm on anyway, right? And then we have some standard markets. And I want to start by looking at goal scoring in England versus Slovenia tonight. Now, in England versus Slovenia tonight, I've gone in and I've put in to the bookie bashing player XG tool for everyone to see an expected lineup. The 10 outfield players for Slovenia and the 10 outfield expected players for England. This could be wrong, but now you can see them on your page. You can just click normalize if you want to see what happens if you force the XG of those players from the markets to equal the team XGs for England and Slovenia. The team XGs being 2.16 expected for England, 0.59 expected for Slovenia. What happens if you see that, as you see value across the board for any time goal scorer for both teams, but definitely for Slovenia? Benjamin Sesko should be getting, given that he's going to be having 0.20 XG because he's having a third of Slovenia's XG of 0.59. So Benjamin Sesko, his AGS should be down about 5.4. You can get him at 6.6 just now on the exchange, 6.6 to 6.8. So he's my first bet, and I'm betting on Sesko to score against England tonight. At the bookmakers, if you were to go there, he's 6.5. And that's why he's 6.4, 6.6, 6.8 on the exchange, because the exchanges follow the bookmakers so sharply. 6.5 at Bet365 6 elsewhere. And I think if you can get the 6 at Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Betfair Sportsbook, Unibet, that's a good price because he's 5.4. He should be down there. So the bookmakers are just underestimating how many goals Sesko is going to get. I'm also going to have a little go on Bukayo Saka on the exchanges. Not as big. It's not the 22% EV, but I think 4.3 is big enough. Should be about 4.1, 4.12. So I'm going to go for a Bukayo Saka. For first goal scorer, I'm going to Dutch Declan and Rice at 21 and 30. That's 105 and 107% EV for those two. So, you know, I've got like a... I don't know, what's that? Just trying to work out the Dutch of probability. I think that's about 12% probability. No. Bear with me whilst I put this into the calculator because I won't be able to move on. That's it. It's 5% plus 3%. It's a 9% probability that one of those two will score first. In terms of 2+, Harry Kane actually looks okay. So he doesn't look okay for any time goal scorer. I mean, just. I mean, he's 2.14 on the exchanges and maybe he should be 2.09, 2.1. But that's just not big enough for me to bet on. First goal scorer, I think the exchanges are fine. 4.5. It's not huge, but... No, I mean, it's not plus EV, but it's not a million miles away. If it was the right price, it makes the double delight hat-trick heaven at Fred good. But I think I like the 2+. The 3+ would have been good, but I think it's gone. I think it's been backed in. So looking at Kane's 2+, 6.4 for 2+ in the game, and 7.2 is trading on the exchange. So, yeah, I like the 7.2 there. We're going to have that. And 3+, as I said, 32 would have been good when it was available earlier, but 27 just now, I think it's just coming down. I don't think it's going to go back up. So I'm going to, 22 to back, 24 to lay. So should be about 27. The 32 would have been nice, but it's gone already. Whoever got that, well done. But yeah, the 7.2 will be fine for Harry Kane to get 2+. I don't think he's good. There's one other thing to consider with that, and that is if England are like 3-0 up and Bellingham and Foden and Kane have got a goal and it's half-time, are they just going to take Kane off for the knockout stages? It's possible, and that starts to affect certain calculations around him getting multiple goals. The 2+ and the 3+ can be a little bit not biased, that's not the word, but affected by whether the player might be taken off at half-time to protect him. And this is a game, certainly, where that could happen. Now, looking at some player stats markets, fouls, Declan Rice, just to have a foul, I think that's 1.9 is about 6% EV, so I'm having that. Cards, Eric Janza for Slovenia, 4.5 looks big, looks like about 116% having that. But it's Jude Bellingham that I'm interested in, right? So Jude Bellingham, who got about 0.19 cards per game, so a game card every 5 games. We make his fair odds around about that, although the La Liga percentage won't be that relevant in market making for England, but 5.5 seems about fair. The breadth of prices for Jude Bellingham at the bookmakers is kind of weird. It's kind of nuts, right? So 5-2 William Hill. So given that we think he should be 9-2, then that's nothing. 11-4 Sky Bet, 3-1 Betfred, 8-1 VBet, 8-1 Bet365. Or VBet obviously copying Bet365 there. 9.0 available on the exchanges. I'm having it. I'm having 9.0 on the exchanges for Bellingham. I think it's a big bet. I was also on cards for Bellingham in the last match. Didn't come in. Doesn't matter. 163% EV. In Netherlands, Austria tonight, I'm laying Posh, the Austrian, at 2.22. I think that's a little bit low. 5% EV than that. And on shots in that match, I'm backing Lamar 1+ at 3.7 and 2+ at 27. I always like to have the double there. It wasn't value for 3+, probably because there was no liquidity for it. But 1+ and 2+ for Lamar to get a shot on target in the Netherlands game. Looks like value. Now, I'd like to be on more, but it's just a bit early for the markets to have formed and for there to be a lot of liquidity. And so I'm limited in the amount of opportunity that I'm able to look at. But that's a summary of tonight's bet. If you like these videos, if you want to know more information, you got any questions, drop me a line at tom@bookiebashing.net, and good luck to England this evening. Whatever does happen, by the way, I personally think that the commentary around how poor the team is performing, how bad that performance is against Denmark. Look, Denmark are a poor team. Some people had maybe suggested they might come last in the group and they're a shadow of their old selves. The thing is, England could end up winning this group, 7 points out of 9. All the players available, well, at least through the group stage, into the next round. There's just a little bit of it's that same old thing about the negativity of the English culture, where in America you would be celebrating every win and holding them up as a bastion of, sportsmanship and admiration and things like that. And in this country, there is this underlying requirement to drag them down and bring them down because results haven't necessarily been going the way people expected, with a thumping against Denmark. It doesn't need to be like that. You just need to be there. Put yourself into that position. No one ever won a poker tournament being the chip leader from the first day. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's also affected the drift in England, where people think that, England started the tournament as favourites and then have seen how they performed in the first couple of games and have reacted to that by drifting them out. Oh, actually, they bounced back in. France are now the 5-2 favourites. Germany do look powerful in this. England are 6.2, Spain are 6.2, and Germany are 6.2, all because I think England have got a more favourable draw than Spain and Germany. But at this price, now that England have drifted from 4 up to 6.2, I'm starting to think there might be a little bit of over-adjustment in the markets, and that 6.2 is starting to look more backable for me anyway than the 4.0 was.